Hello, hello, hello. We are making a video. I found this rock in a river. A peach rock from the river. This rock stood out from all the other rocks, and I haven't even seen the patterns on it. I didn't even notice the patterns on it yet. I only saw this rock. I think it was even this side up. I dig it out. I wash it. I washed it with clay at home. And I see there are patterns in it. I don't know about other people, but I am able to recognize certain things. I recognize certain shapes in this. So, which one did I notice first? I noticed this eye here first. Sort of like a baby chicken eye. Cartoon chicken. Chicken. And then I noticed this Native American Indian profile. It's not really, I don't know if this is it looks like a tribal man with tribal feathers. And I see eyes here. There are eyes. This eye is crying. And then I noticed something on the other side as well. And there it is. There it is. There it is. This here is the eye that I think was portraying the Nefertiti in Egypt. And it has this stream coming out from the center of the eye, coming out and it going down. And that's a crying eye. A few days ago I was looking at that and I realized That is the eye of the blue god. Even those depictions in the Egyptian tombs, I believe, are the representation of the blue god. And the eye is crying. And what does that mean? And it looks like the eye is crying into a container, maybe a boat. It's very interesting that I keep finding rocks that have this symbol. I have another rock with that eye that I found at a completely different place, like 50 miles away at the beach. This is also the sign called Pi. I talked about this before when I described my other rock. It has that. This is the Pi sign, like this bow. And then from there, it has two stripes that go down. That's the Pi symbol from the Greek alphabet. It is used in mathematics. It stands for something. I believe it's an infinity number. And of course it is an infinity number, because this is the eye of the blue god also, the Pi sign. And the blue god is crying, and what does that mean? The crying symbol. What does the crying symbol mean? I see other things in it now too. Very interesting. I also see a nose that's breathing. I see a cat. What does it mean when the eye cries? It means that the soul is wide open. It means there is no duality, there is no deception, no delusion, no dishonesty. This is extreme vulnerability and openness and receptivity and welcoming all living beings equally much. There are no boundaries. It's infinite love, and that's what the blue god is. It's very beautiful. Authenticity is vulnerability. And that's what the Pi sign symbolizes. That's what this crying eye symbolizes. And then I saw a documentary film by a German filmmaker, Sylvia. Forgot the last name now. That is the most beautiful documentary film I have ever witnessed in my entire life. And that film is about crystals, the power of crystals and rocks. And that film was given to me, sent to me by the Blue God. I found it for free on YouTube. The English translation, the English not synchronization, the English translation on top of the existing sounds. And you will hear them start to talk in German. Interviews, it's a documentary film. And then the English translator will come into a few seconds later. Beautifully made film. I looked for her on Facebook. I found her. I complimented her. She thanked me for that. I told her this is the most beautiful film I've ever seen in my entire life. And that was wonderful. This was a real present, this film. I watched it several times. 2-hour-long documentary film. I watched it over and over. And I found that film about a month or two. No, actually, a week or two after Kenny died. Kenny, the Blue God, the albino Great Dane, with light blue eyes. And in that film, at the very end, a guy named Wolfgang, German guy in Germany, he has a yoga retreat center with a real large botanical garden, and he has these humongous rocks, crystal rocks in the garden that he paid a lot of money for. They're from all over the world. He would find them just in the nick of time before the jewelers came and kidnapped those rocks and chopped them up into splinters and pieces to make jewelry out of it, or sell in smaller amounts because they think they can get more money that way for the rock. And he was very concerned about these amazing finds of rocks, when he would find these gigantic rocks that are the size of 5 people in one block. Really, really huge. And even with those slants on the top, like a diamond, which naturally shapes itself like that. It's just amazing. That has to do with the molecular structure of this mineral, of this crystal. Whatever comes out of the ocean is going to be rounded, of course, because they tumble in the ocean for millions of years. This is millions and millions and millions of years old. And it's an honor and a delight and a joy for me to find this and take that home. And I take very good care of all of my rocks and crystals. And someone in that documentary film said, the rocks, if you really want to take the rock, then the rock has called to you to take that rock. The rocks decide where they go, where they are being transported to. And in the case of Wolfgang Hall, I think is his last name, those humongous rocks that are, one is a Sistine, I think it's called, or citrine rock, I think, that is opaque and the sun shines through, and it is yellow. That's why it's called citrine. It's a specific mineral. And the reason why these rocks came to Wolfgang Hall is because that's where they wanted to go. They wanted to be rescued. Other rocks maybe don't mind they don't mind if the jewelers come and pick them up. Other rocks want to stay in caves. They want to stay very deep under the earth's surface. And there was a guy, a rock miner, that went into a cave in the middle of a forest. I think the Black Forest in southern Germany. They went there. The filmmaker followed him into the forest, and those are dark. It gets really dark inside of the forest, even during the daylight, because they're very, very condensed, and you feel like you're transported back in time, and you feel like that little Red Riding Hood is gonna come around the corner, and what's her name again? That little girl that gave all of her clothes away. And the werewolf and all of these mythological figures and the seven dwarfs and all of that kind of lives deep in that forest together with really large mushrooms. So he found this so-called quarry, and he went in there with a pickaxe, and he started to chip away on some of those rocks that are partly into the cave. And he brought some of the pieces with him, and they went into that cave. I could not believe what I saw. They were shining the flashlights in there, and there was a naturally formed eye, just like this here, just like this, but not pale. That eye was like, that eye looked like a real eye. I mean, not just a painting, even more even more distinct, the outlinings and the colors. They were like, almost looked like blue, like a darker kind of blue, the outlining of that eye of the Nefertiti. Looked like a real human eye, even with white spots in it. Looked almost like it was 3D, and it was reflecting, and it was all part of that marble. And that came to the surface after these rock miners had already been chipping away on the sides of that rock inside of that cave. And what they revealed is this eye. But nobody talked about it. These people didn't even pay attention. They didn't even see that this is the eye of the crystal. And it felt to me like that crystal was crying. That was the crystal's expression of crying. Because it did not want to be excavated. It wanted to stay in that cave under many layers. But then they kept chipping away at it, and then this like a dark blue outline was the eye, the pupil, and then crying tears were like streams were coming out, like water, like this. I was amazed. But the other people, they didn't see that. They didn't notice it. They were too focused on the rocks and the cave and the rock miners and the minerals. So it really depends on what we focus our attention on. I'm an artist, so I see shapes in everything. I mean, literally in everything. In the clouds, in the rug, in the wallpaper, in the beach, in the videos. I see the formations in grass and in hedges. I always do. I see unbelievable stuff showing itself. But most people don't see it. And I'm not judging them. It just is the way it is. Their brain is just not wired in this way of paying attention to certain shapes within shapes, certain patterns within structures. You pay attention to the structure, but not to what the structure is itself is shaping or painting for you. But I pay attention to this, and I think this is absolutely remarkable. Really remarkable. And then in that same documentary, towards the end, they went into another one of those quarries, and I saw another rock with that pi sign and the eye that's crying. Another one. But the other people didn't see it. So I knew right then and there thus that those are the symbols of the blue god. And that's the blue god telling me everything is okay. You see, I'm everywhere. I am here, I am there, I am everywhere. I am not getting lost. I will always be there for you, no matter where you go. No matter where you look, I will always be there. My eye is in the rocks. It is also in the tree bark outside my window. I look at you, I protect you, I guard you. And that's wonderful. So I knew it was the blue god telling me this. And then at the very end of that documentary film, they showed the animals of Wolfgang Karl. And if I had just known about Wolfgang Karl, I would have gone there. I was studying psychology not that far from where he was located. I could have stopped there and attended one of those retreats. I would have loved to do that. But I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the Therme in Switzerland. I didn't know. I went to Switzerland to see my therapist. I didn't know about the Therme. I didn't know about any of these things. I found all of that out long after I had been in Germany the last time. So and I am not going back to Germany. So, never. Okay. I might go to Thailand. Okay. I might go to Thailand if I don't get shot. If that was just some kind of paranoia idea that I get shot at 61. So if that doesn't happen, if I don't get shot at 61, so maybe at 62 or older, maybe when I'm 80, I go to Thailand and live there. And live there for the rest of my life. So it's always been a dream to live in a tropical Asian country. I think Thailand is nice. Islam is marching into all of these countries. This is very, very scary though. It's very scary. But if I have nothing to lose, I might just as well help those that are oppressed, like the Buddhists and the dogs. Okay? So help those and rescue those and stand up for those. And try to make the world better. Okay? And I want to meet the artist Emily Barton. I'm in absolute awe with Emily Barton. Emily Barton lives not far from Bangkok with her father and mother and all of her rescued dogs and cats. And she's just a little girl. She's like 8 years old or 9 years old. And she's already an amazing artist. She has art exhibits where she lives. They have a local gallerist there and local artists. There seem to be a lot of artists living there in that community. I would fit right in. There's also an elephant sanctuary where they go frequently. And when her father plays a classical piece on the piano, he has a piano outside, then the animals come and they will lie on top of the piano and all the way around him. They love classical music. Animals love classical music. Elephants are so deeply touched by classical music. They have these Asian elephants, and they will come over and they put their trunk on the piano or on the person's shoulder and they listen. They are very deeply touched by the music. That's an amazing family, the Barton family. I would love to meet them. That's a great artist, Emily Barton. She will become very famous, I believe. So the sun is going down now, but I think that looks really good together with her tank top. But I want to talk a little bit about psychology now. This would be too heavy as a pendant, obviously. This is very heavy. But it feels really good on the skin. It really does. It feels amazing. I cried today, I cried yesterday, thinking about Philip Jones. Of course that's not his name. I'm very well aware about it. He has 100 different names. None of the names or his real name. His real name is Carlos Castaneda. No. Carlos Kerouac. No. Carlos Bustamante. Carlos Rodriguez, probably. Right? So I'm just guessing. So there's a lot of people with that name. Carlos Rodriguez. Okay. And I like that name a lot. So I'm just guessing that is Philip Jones's name. But I might be wrong. I mean, maybe he's not even Latino. I don't know. I don't know what he is. I think he is Scotty, but that's not his real name either. So if he's Scotty, then he's somewhere from the Bible Belt out there. So if he's Scotty, then he is a 300-pound black man. Very good looking guy. So, but I told him what my preferences are. Okay. And I'm not going to get into the details now. This is kind of personal, all of this. I told him what I like in men. Okay. And that made him very disappointed. And I felt bad, I felt terrible that I had to disappoint him. I think I should be able to talk about this publicly. I should be able. I feel embarrassed to talk about this. I like large, and most men are not large. And when I have to tell them that I like large, they get really mad. They get very angry. And I think that's him. That's my hater. Okay. So we always feel very embarrassed when it comes to our sexual preferences and needs and so on. We feel very embarrassed because society has made us feel embarrassed. And it's wrong. We shouldn't have to feel embarrassed about this. We shouldn't. Dogs don't feel embarrassed about that. I don't mind having just a friend, So who knows, that could also lead to a romantic love. I'm not ruling it out, And I said that many times. I even said that to him on Facebook. I said, this is just what I like, but we can be friends. But he didn't want to just be friends. I want people to make their lives better. I want people to make their lives happy. When I was 16, I was also clinging to this or that boy, and I couldn't let go, even though I felt like he wasn't interested very much. I think this one guy, I'm pretty sure he's gay, and he had girlfriends, but he wasn't really into the way he talks about the girlfriends, and the way he was with me. I felt like he was not really attracted to me that much physically, so he liked my dad a lot better. But at that time, I wanted to, I was in love with him, and I wanted to kid myself about it. I wanted to create something like a snapshot idea, and I wanted to create something like a dream. I wanted to create a fantasy island in my head about him, and he would call me, I would call him, we would go out, we would hang out in cafes and stuff like that. He would come over. One time he came over and he lied down on the floor and he said, just do whatever you want to do. I was very young. I was, how old? I was like 21 or something like that, 21 or 22. But I am a late developer mentally. So physically I was always very advanced very quickly, but in my head I was still a child. And even then I was still like other kids would be at age 13. I was like developmentally mental in a mental way 10 years behind. At 23 I was like 13. And I didn't know what he wanted. When he lied down there, he said, you can do whatever you want. I lied next to him and I put my arm around him like I do with my animal. And I did nothing. And he did nothing. So, and then nothing happened. And then when he left, I felt unfulfilled. And I felt, oh, he doesn't like me very much. He's not in love with me. And I was jealous of my girlfriends when he looked at them or talked to them. But I really think he was not very much into women. So, and that's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. I just wish people would be straightforward about it and not give someone false hopes. I think that's wrong of a gay man to give a woman false hopes. So that's like we get emotionally invested. But once I knew this wasn't going anywhere, he was not gonna be returning those feelings, okay, that I had for him. You know, very needy and very clingy feelings. No, he didn't return that. So Paul, he's damaging my artwork. Oh my god. Paul didn't even hear. He didn't even hear me. He did not hear me. He's completely deaf now, almost. Baby dog jumped full force on my alien spaceship now. Oh, I hope he didn't damage that. My goodness. Paul did nothing to stop that from happening. Absolutely nothing. He didn't hear me. He didn't see the baby dog jumping up there right behind him. He's doing knots, creating knots in rope. And when he's busy with something like this, he cannot hear anything else and see anything else. That's just how his mind works. I find that very irritating. I feel ignored, but it is how his mind works. He cannot notice anything else. So I have to just accept that. So, but anyway, when I was 23 or so with that guy, I had to just accept that he was not into me. Just accept it and move on. We were still friends, but I didn't expect anything anymore. And then I had other guys and so on. What I want other people to do is whoever you like, whoever you find and make friends with on the internet or in person, okay, try to, at least after a couple of weeks, try to lay your cards on the table. Say it. I like you. How do you feel about me? I did that with a guy named Eric. We still had Kenny at that time. That was, I think, it was in 2012. I was talking to that guy Eric. He was in Kentucky. He was at the university studying Foucault and Derrida and Nietzsche. And I was like, head over heels. Latino guy even. I was head over heels. I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the man of my life, right? But he was not into me at all. I looked really mega dorky with my eyebrows big and wide and almost black hair and crazy facial expression. So no, I dressed like a man 100%. I mean, that's all gotten a lot better now. So that had to do with mental illness, all of this. So in my case, in my situation. And I don't know how he would feel about me now if he saw my videos now. If he saw my body naked, he probably would like me, right? But because he said he was into blonde chicks and all of that. So, but at that time he was really not interested. But we talked a lot, and I had the best conversations with him because he was into the philosophers and he was educated on them. He started reading Nietzsche at age 11. So, and he was like 30 and I was like 45 or something. And I was really, really in love with him. I thought, this is my dream man, and why doesn't he like me back? But after a couple of weeks riding back and forth with him, and I really enjoyed the conversations, I told him how I felt. I said, Eric, I'm in love with you. I want you as my boyfriend. How do you feel about me? And he wrote back and he said, I'm so sorry. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not in love with you. And I said, that's okay. Baby dog, don't jump on my artwork. No. And I cried, for a couple of days, but I was okay about it. Yes, that. Okay. Yeah. I cried. I was vulnerable. I was open. I still loved him as a friend. I didn't force myself on him. I didn't stalk him. I didn't do a snapshot fantasy that kept him going in my head. I accepted the reality of it. I cried it out. I accepted the truth. I accepted the now moment. I accepted that he doesn't like me. I accepted him the way he is. I accept myself the way I am. And I just cried it out. And I walk through my life. I walk forward. And we kept talking and writing to each other for several more months, and then we wouldn't be writing for a while, and then once in a while I would hear from him again. How are you doing? And I thought that was really cool, really nice. And he would tell me about his parties and about the drugs and the LSD and all of that he took. I was against it. I told him. I said, don't do that to yourself. Don't hurt your body like this. But he's not going to listen to me or his mother or anyone. So I don't know. I don't know if he's still alive. The way he abused his body. I thought it was very sad. But then I wasn't regretting that the friendship fizzled out because I don't like that. I don't like having a friend who is abusing his body or her body. I don't like that. I don't like hanging out with people who are self-abusive in this way. When I can't do anything about it and they don't listen to my advice and I have to watch them destroy themselves. So that's why I was also very, very, very worried about my brother. I don't want to witness this. I don't want to see my brother destroying himself. And I hope he does listen to me now. So, but anyway, regarding that Eric, I just accepted it. I lived with it, and I live my life. So I recommend the same to Scotty. You live your life, okay? You find a compatible girl, okay? Compatible, physically compatible. There's no shame involved in it. No shame. Society has shamed us to the point where people, they have a word for this, like verklemmt in German. I don't know how you even translate this into English. Verklemmt. Prudish or something. Verklemmt, like someone who's kind of locked up sexually. Someone who's in deep shame and embarrassment and secretive and locked up and feels always embarrassed when that subject comes up and will never talk about it, always keep it hidden. And then when they do that, then it starts smoldering. It starts to get even more extreme and intense, as we can clearly see with the Vatican. Those guys are gay. They hate it. They try to shut that up inside of themselves. And by doing that, it escalates. It gets worse. The lust doesn't go away. It's still there. They're trying to suppress it. There's a little boy coming to them innocently. The lust takes over, and then they molest them, and that's what happens all the time in the Vatican. And all the way around the world, with boys and girls. It's happening all the time. With fathers molesting his children. All the time. Okay. I believe that I have been sexually molested by different men, adult men. I don't have direct memories of it. I have dreams about it, and I have night terror and brain terror, and I have paintings that depict this. Paintings from when I was 4, 5, and 6 years old that depict this. Evil ghost bites little girl into belly. Okay, so, and bathroom scenes over bathroom scenes over bathroom scenes. Bathroom was red flag for me. Yeah. So obviously, it's obvious to me and also to my therapist Annalise. It's very obvious what happened, that some terrible stuff happened. And this is happening, I would say, from 10 girls, randomly taken 10 girls or 10 women, 9 of them have been abused in this way. So it's like 90%, okay? And that's, I don't know, I'm just guessing, could be even higher, the number. The human species is very mentally ill. The entire species, Arjanov said it too, Paul Watson said it too. Okay. The entire human species is very mentally ill. And one reason for it is the shame, the shaming and the suppressing. And then in that suppressing action, the lust and the need bounces back. It bounces back like a spring, extra, extra, extra. Because you compress the spring, you compress the need. The next best situation where you just let go off the pressure from the spring, it will spring up just like that in the next possible situation. And that's why it happens. This happens in the Vatican. This happens when little choir boys go to their ministers. This happens when the father is alone with his little girl. The mother is not there, nobody there. Or in one case, in 48, our crime report, it was a teenage boy. Parents go somewhere, they say to their two teenage boys, can you watch over the girl like 4 years old or 5. And teenage boys like 15, something. The parents leave. Teenage boy, one of the teenage boys not paying any attention at all. He's playing video games, and the other one literally takes his little sister into his room, rapes her, and then kills her to silence her. Okay. And then he says a burglar came in and did it, but they found out, of course. I mean, a teenage boy doesn't know how to cover up his tracks, obviously. And it's absolutely shocking and heartbreaking to see. Again, this lust, the shame. Also, a completely broken childhood. They were never allowed to be children. Little girl said to him, while he was stabbing her, she said to him, "Brother, why are you killing me?" That's heartbreaking for me. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you murdering me? It's unthinkable. It's unspeakable. The monstrosity of all of this. Yeah. So, and these are all the results of suppressed emotions. Emotions that never come out, that never get talked about. They never come onto the table. They're never laid out on the table. They're never discussed. They're tucked away like a spring, pressed away. They're closeted. The lust is closeted, whatever lust it is. Whatever needs. They lock it up. They don't let it out. They don't talk about it. They're ashamed about it. They're afraid about it. They're afraid of being shamed, humiliated. This is almost an automatic mechanism that is happening in the human species. And with stalkers, it is that they have a fixation on one specific person, one specific woman, and it's usually a woman, but I'm sure there are stalkers who have a fixation on a man. Most stalkers are men. I think there are female stalkers, but they're so ultra rare. It's like 1 in a million or something. The absolute vast, overwhelming majority of stalkers are men. And the overwhelming majority of their targets are women. Okay, so, and that's what Scotty is doing. Okay, so obviously he has zoomed in on me, and he has not been able to let go. And that was like over 10 years ago when he came to me on Facebook, and I had to tell him, this is what I need. This is what, because he asked me straight out. Okay. He showed me his nudes. I didn't show him my nudes. I said, I would rather get to know you first and just talk about different things. Let's become friends, you know. I liked him. I liked the way he looks. But he couldn't wait. The first conversation we had, he already had to flash himself. And I don't like that. That's like when a man has to do this, has this need to flash himself on the very first day that he gets to talk to a woman on the internet. It's a turnoff. It's a turnoff for the vast majority of women. No, there are a lot of catfishers out there. There are women catfishers and men catfishers. And most catfishers that you see with a female account, female face and name, there's a man behind it. There's a man like Danny behind it. And he laughs his ass off with that. And he really tricks people nonstop. He goes after older ladies, particularly. I mean, for that he would have to impersonate a man, of course, and he does that. But he goes after a man with the female account, and that's happening all over the place. And someone told me, or actually two people told me, that they have seen several fake accounts with my photos that I have put on Facebook and with my name in different variations. And they're catfishing people with my photo. That makes me infinitely sad. First of all, it makes me infinitely sad that my photo is used to trick men into giving money to some random thief and criminal. And also, that can get me killed. What if one of these guys that have been tricked sees me in a store? You owe me money. You catfisher, I have no idea who that is. I've never seen this man. I have nothing to do with it. And then the more you give, the more photos you give, the more they will use that for their catfishing profile of you. That they will use to catfish men with. Trust me. It's my message to the teenage girls out there. Don't do it. It's not worth it. I know we all have the need to find our Danny boy, you know. And we want to think that maybe we can turn him around. We have the power, you know, to make Danny straighten out, or whatever your boyfriend's name is. You know. Make him straighten out. Yeah, and he will say, "Yeah, I'll straighten out after I've been with you," and he won't say it in that way. You know what I mean. He'll say it in a much more vulgar way. So, obviously, that is not the guy you need. You don't need a guy who's vulgar with you and disrespectful and views you like a usable item. And he himself his childhood was taken from him. He is broken. He's a broken person. He's loaded with trauma from this lifetime and from past lifetimes. He has collective DNA trauma, and he has collective soul trauma as well. All of that combined. But just because I know that doesn't mean I have to take him into my house and be his mama, right? And let him trample all over me and abuse me and use me and steal my money and eventually torture me or pimp me out or whatever they do, okay? Or sell my organs. Right? A lot of those people, they have absolutely no boundaries at all. They have no empathy. They view the other person as merchandise, okay? And even if they have some empathy to a certain degree, and that can go on for a couple of years, the moment you say no to him, he's done with his empathy, okay? The moment you say no and he knows that you're filing for divorce, he's gonna want to cash in the life insurance that he has on your life. Mm-hmm. And he will turn you off and cash in the life insurance. And that is happening by the millions and millions of times around the globe, particularly here in the United States. It's happening. People need to be aware about this. And I understand you want a boyfriend, and you go out there and there is not one compassionate man or boy out there. Not even one individual. Not even an ugly one with compassion. Not even the dork next door or the absolute dorkiest man that you... Most women don't like dorks. I like dorks, but Most girls don't want dorks, but not even the dork in your neighborhood. Not even the not even the dork that has A grades in every single subject and is always homely and at home, never goes to parties. I'm not sure. Even that may be a stalker. Even that may be someone who is very disturbed and very mentally ill. And cluster B and who knows. Even that person cannot be trusted. So that's the reality of the world. So I don't blame you if you end up going for one of those. Because we have strong needs. We have strong hormonal needs. And a lot of us go out there and we risk our life. And we pay with our life for it. Okay? So and much worse. I don't even want to say it. We might pay with our organs. We might pay with being tortured. And that's why I live for saving the world. I live for making the world a better place. Okay. That's why I make videos. Because I don't want to see that happening. I want you to be more careful. I want you to be extra careful. All of you girls out there. And to Scotty, I know you suffer, but what you're doing to yourself, that's like self-punishment, that's like self-flagellation. Scotty, you have no other choice other than to move forward with your life. Okay. You have to move forward with your life, Scotty. I care about you, but I can't hang out with you. You're too psychopathic for me. You've been very psychopathic on the internet. I can't hang out with people like this. Not even as friends. I'm self-protective. I'm protective of my family, even more so. I will kill someone who comes after my family. I'm not saying this lightly. This is not a joke. So, let off with the stalking. Let off us. Let off our world here. Okay? This is my world. These are my boundaries. Stay outside of my boundaries, Scotty. Okay? In every respect. I know you're using the occult. This is a complete taboo. Stay outside of my boundaries. In the astral plane, in the physical plane, and in the emotional plane. Internet. On every level. Stay out of my life. Okay. Do this for yourself. This is the only way you can ever have any kind of peace in your life. There's no hope. I will never, ever meet you. Okay, never. It will never happen. And I've said this many times before in my videos. I said it in the past too, but I have to say it again. Because you don't let off. You have to let go. There are books written on this subject of letting go. Read these books. Do this. Do yourself that favor. Read these books. Work on yourself. Go into your own mind. Meditate. Quit drinking alcohol and taking drugs. Quit the toxin. Quit all the toxins. They are not helping you. Clean your life up. This is my recommendation to you if you want peace. And then date women or girls that are compatible with you, physically and mentally. Okay. There's a Vipassana course that happens all around the globe in many different places. I highly recommend it to you. It's free of charge because S.N. Goenka, who established this, Vipassana meditation, it's a Buddhist-based meditation, but they don't preach Buddhism to you there. It's about meditation. It's about letting go. It's about purifying your mind. It's a fruit, raw fruit cleanse, okay, with meditation for 1 week, for 10 days actually, with everything, accommodation, everything included, for free. No, this is making the world a better place. A lot of people have already gotten so much help from them. It's stuff like that I highly recommend to people. Or just go alone into the forest and sit there and meditate and cry it all out. Talk to the blue god. Cry it out. Okay. And then you are in that mental state. Then you're in that mental state of openness and vulnerability and loving yourself. And then you have all the freedom in the world to be you and to pursue what you actually like. The professions, the artwork, carpentry, whatever you have an affinity for. Or study something. Or join groups. And then you will meet someone who's compatible with you. Okay? But your focus is heal yourself. Go into your own mind. Okay? I love you as a friend, as the mother of all living beings. Take care.